Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today is part 1 of this mini comic making process, and I'm starting this video with the thumbnail already done. It's not much, just a general idea for what I wanted to make. And in this video, I'll only be doing the sketch and the line art. Next week, I'll upload part 2, which will be the entire coloring process. I didn't want to try to jam everything into one video, so I thought 2 separate videos would be a better option. So for this comic, only a little bit of thinking went into it. This was right after filming my last OC video, and I didn't know what I wanted to draw next. I was feeling a little discouraged after that video and wanted to make sure my next drawing would be something I could have fun with. Like nothing extravagant. I didn't want to put too much pressure on myself. I decided I wanted to do something kind of cutesy and went to bed. The next morning I was at the gym, and when I'm doing cardio, I like to use that time to catch up on my webtoons and like do my daily passes and stuff like that. So reading through the webcomics made me want to do a mini comic. I always feel inspired after reading comics, especially reading my favorite titles. And that day, Act Like You Love Me and Dreaming Freedom updated, so I was feeling extra inspired. Afterwards, while I was taking a shower, this idea popped into my head, and I knew I just had to do it. And of course, it's Mammon, because whenever I don't know what to draw, my brain defaults to Mammon, and I swear he isn't my favorite. It's like the more I say that, the more I feel like I'm lying to myself. But I'm gonna keep saying it because I don't want to betray Simeon like that. I'm still gonna say he's my favorite, and I'm going to draw him more often, I promise. So this mini comic stars Mammon, obviously, and an MC of mine named Lula. I used her once before when I created her to use for my last VLLO mini comic. I came up with her while working on that one and had no intentions of using her again until after it was finished, and I was in love with her design, so I decided to make her a reoccurring MC for these Obey Me comics. As for her name, not much thought went into it. I just knew I wanted something short and cute, so I went with Lula from a song called Lula, I'm Not Mad. And I don't remember if I had just listened to that song recently or not, but that's what came to mind, so that's what I went with. I think it fits her though. I'm not sure how much I want to develop her as a character, but I do already have a few ideas for her. She definitely won't be the only Obey Me MC I will use though. I like diversifying them. And for the Simeon comic I'm writing, that MC doesn't look like Lula at all. I don't even know when I'm going to finish that comic. I have to rewrite so much of it. I haven't even touched it in months. I just feel like I kind of hit a wall with that one. The way I originally wrote it was like I already had an idea for how I wanted the entire story to play out, and just popped Simeon and an OC into the character slots without thinking too much about how Simeon actually would respond and react to certain situations. The things I wrote didn't really feel authentic to him, so I need to go in and make the character fit Simeon, and that changes a lot of the scenarios altogether. Reworking that entire comic feels very tedious, and I kind of lost motivation to work on it for now. After the Simeon comic, I planned on making an Osmo comic. I already have a vague storyline for that one, but I wanted to do the Simeon one first because he's my favorite. But we'll see what happens with that. I don't even know anymore. But I don't want to give up on it. And once I start working on it again, I'll let you guys know. I really want to get better at making comics. Ever since I was a kid, it has always been my dream to make my own comic books. But I've always felt too intimidated, even thinking about learning to do it. I always told myself I had to learn this and that first before I can even attempt it, but then proceed to procrastinate learning the this and that because those intimidated me too. So it was just a cycle of me wanting to learn and then talking myself out of trying. Within the last year or so, I've been really taking my learning more seriously. It's really hard and I feel so behind, like I need to catch up to everyone else. I often feel like I wasted so much time before that now I need to work 2 or 3 times harder to make up for it. It's tough and I often feel demoralized and like disheartened. But I need to remind myself like every tiny bit of progress counts. Back in June, I redrew one of my old illustrations from 2 years ago. And looking at the two, the amount of improvement I've made is amazing. Like I'm so proud of myself. Like I know 2 years is a long time and it should be obvious I will progress. But sometimes you don't really notice the changes you've made until you look back at what you did before. I was not confident in my digital art skills at all back then. I didn't even draw all of this drawing. Like I know for sure I traced the clothes. Like look how stiff they are. I had no faith in myself and didn't even want to attempt to draw the shirt and the jacket, so I just traced it. Even all the folds and shadows, like I didn't even try to do it myself because I already had convinced myself I was going to fail if I did. Like during that time, getting the drawing done as fast as possible was more important than learning how to do it myself. And it was only like that for digital art. Like when it came to traditional art, like I loved, the sketching process and drawing and stuff, but since there was like such a huge learning curve for digital art, I didn't want to go through the sucking process. I just wanted to be good at it as soon as possible. So I didn't want to spend time to learn or get used to the new thing. So I just wanted to get it done. A lot of my art back then was me just trying to get the drawing done and over with and then never looking at it again. As long as it looked good enough, like it didn't matter. Like I wouldn't have to, like it's done now. I don't have to go back to it or look at it or anything. That also was around the time I wasn't drawing as much. Like I would take like months in between. So I just wasn't in the mood really. So if I had an idea, I just wanted to get it out like as soon as possible. My art now looks a lot better and it also feels a lot better. Like even when I do draw something I dislike, it's like at least I tried. Like it still sucks when that happens, but it's all experience I need to get better. Like my art is nowhere near where I want it to be yet, but I'm doing good, I think. Before, it's like I used to think every drawing that I start has to turn out good or it was just a waste. Like there was no practice, everything had to be a finished piece. And now I have like tons of sketches that I started and then tucked away. Even if I did like it, like if it's just for practice, it can stay being just practice. It doesn't have to be a finished drawing that everyone can look at and like. I'm a lot more serious about my art now than before, but at the same time, I'm also having a lot more fun. Okay, well, that's a topic I didn't think I would get on today. So let's move on. I haven't even brought up what's going on in this comic yet. I don't know if it's obvious or not. After working on it for a little bit, I wondered if anyone would be confused. I never got any confused comments after putting it on Instagram, but I'll explain a bit of it anyways. It starts with the two of them just hanging out. Lula is watching TV while Mammon is admiring and just entranced by her. He doesn't even realize he's doing it. So when she looks down at him and addresses him, it kind of breaks him out of it. and he's immediately hit with like a feeling of shyness and embarrassment, but mostly like a happy, overwhelming feeling that causes him to look away. Like, does that make sense? I hope so, because the comic is already done. I'm still editing part 2 though, but like I said, that'll be the next video I upload after this one, and I hope you come back to watch it. I worked really hard on this mini comic. I even printed it out and put it on my wall. And speaking of art prints, I put up some Obey Me art prints and some Obey Me stickers in my Etsy shop this week. Please check out my store if you're interested. I'm almost at 100 sales, which is crazy. But thank you to everyone who ordered from my shop. It means a lot to me. And thank you to whoever supports my art in general. You all are the best. I hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope you come back for the next one. There's not much left in this video, but that's all I have to say. So, bye.